Hi, Steve here at blessedhopeforever.com. If you're looking for something truly extraordinary this year, 2025, actually, this year has a very exciting and rare sign that is expected to be visible to the naked eye, particularly in September, October, maybe even November. The date isn't certain, but it's going to happen. There's been a great deal of media attention and excitement among astronomers and the general public about this upcoming event. It's a recurrent nova. It's rare. It's one that gets this bright is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the world to look at. This widespread awareness will encourage many people to look up. This is the recurrent nova T Corona Borealis, or otherwise known as TCRB, often called the Blaze Star. TCRB is a binary star system located about 3,000 light years away. It consists of a white dwarf and a red giant, and periodically the white dwarf siphons material from the red giant, building up a layer of hydrogen that eventually ignites in a thermonuclear explosion, causing the star to dramatically brighten. This is a nova, not a supernova, which is a much more massive star exploding. It is rare. It is a recurrent nova every 80 years, meaning that it explodes on a somewhat predictable cycle. Its last outburst was in 1946, and it's expected to go off again sometime between now and November. It's a rare chance to witness a stellar explosion with the naked eye. You won't need any telescope. When it explodes, TCRB is predicted to brighten from its usual faint magnitude 10 to around magnitude 2. And this is comparable to the brightness of the North Star, Polaris, and easily visible to the naked eye from moderately dark skies. It will appear as a new bright star in the constellation Corona Borealis, or otherwise known as the Northern Crown, which is a small semicircle-shaped constellation located between the bright stars Arcturus and Vega. The peak brightness will last for a few days, and it will be visible to the naked eye for about a week before it fades. So it will be a brief but spectacular event. The fall feast September-October time frame that we've been talking about is well within the predicted window. So for an unusual and visible sign in the heavens this year, the absolute top contender for September-October is the predicted outburst of T Corona Borealis. Now, neither Oumuamua nor Borisov 2017-2019 were visible to the naked eye. Both of these interstellar visitors were incredible scientific discoveries, but they were not celestial shows in the sense that you could see them with the naked eye, for the general public to observe without specialized equipment. This is why the potential outburst of T Corona Borealis is so exciting. It promises a rare naked eye spectacle. Now, you know how science looks at this, but you also know how I look at this. The Northern Crown, officially known as Corona Borealis, is a small but distinctive constellation located in the northern celestial hemisphere. It's easily recognizable by its semicircular arc of bright stars, which gives it its crown shape. Its most prominent feature is a graceful semicircular arc of 7 main stars resembling a crown or a horseshoe. It is situated between the constellations Bootes to its west and Hercules to its east. Alphecca is the brightest star in the constellation, and it marks the jewel in the crown. Now, many of you are familiar with Bollinger's The Witness of the Stars, which is a fascinating and somewhat controversial work that interprets the constellations as a divinely inspired, pre-biblical revelation of God's plan of salvation culminating in the coming of Christ. He believed that the original names and depictions of the constellations before they were corrupted by pagan mythologies told a consistent story of our Redeemer and our redemption. Here's the essence of Bollinger's interpretation of Corona Borealis: the crown of victory and reward. In Bollinger's system, Corona Borealis represents the crown of righteousness and glory that awaits the victorious. It is the reward for those who overcome evil and are redeemed by the promised seed, our Redeemer Jesus Christ. He frequently places Corona Borealis in context with Ophiuchus, a man wrestling with a serpent, representing Christ overcoming the devil, and Scorpio, representing the wounding or death that the serpent inflicts. The crown, therefore, is the result of this victory over evil. It's the triumph that follows the struggle. Ultimately, it's the crown that belongs to the Redeemer, Jesus Christ, who will finally crush the head of the serpent and reign in glory. And by extension, it represents the crown given to those who are faithful to him. I'm going to call that the elect, God's church today, the church today. His argument is that the ancient star pictures were not merely arbitrary patterns or pagan inventions, but rather a universal gospel in the stars that predated the written scriptures. Alphecca, the main star, also known as Alpha, is the brightest star in the constellation. It's often referred to as the Northern Crown. It's commonly described as marking the jewel in the crown due to its prominence within the semicircle of stars that form the constellation. Now, it's important to clarify that Alphecca itself is not expected to explode. Alphecca, Alpha Corona Borealis, is an eclipsing binary star system, meaning that it's composed of two stars that periodically eclipse each other from our perspective. While stars do evolve and eventually die, Alphecca is not currently in a stage that would lead to an immediate explosion like a supernova. The star in Corona Borealis that is expected to explode or dramatically brighten is T Corona Borealis, TCRB, also known as the Blaze Star. TCRB is a different star within the constellation Corona Borealis, and it's not one of the main stars that form the crown shape, nor is it Alphecca, the jewel. T Corona Borealis is a recurrent nova. This means it's a binary star system where a white dwarf star is siphoning material off of a companion red giant star. And periodically, enough material accumulates on the surface of the white dwarf to trigger that thermonuclear explosion, causing the star to dramatically brighten. These nova events are not as powerful as supernova, which are the complete destruction of a massive star, but they still cause a significant temporary increase in brightness. Now, TCRB has had recorded outbursts in 1866 and 1946, and it's predicted to have another outburst this year. And when it does, it will become visible to the naked eye for a short period, and then it will appear as a new star in the sky. I don't know if we'll be here to see it, but these are the facts. The TCRB outburst in 1866 occurred on May 12. Jews became a majority in Jerusalem that year. That's interesting. Okay? In the context of the New Testament, Aliyah of Messiah refers to the ascension of Jesus to heaven, Acts chapter 1, verses 1 through 14. The Aliyah of Messiah corresponds to the Christian observance of Ascension Day, which occurs 40 days after Easter. So what I'm pointing out is the remarkable coincidence that a significant astronomical event, the TCRB Nova outburst, occurred on a day that Torah calendar associates with a major theological event, Aliyah of Messiah. Now that was 1866. The white and red giant stars that explode are not part of the seven-star crown, but are seen only in the vicinity of the crown. The white dwarf and red giant stars that comprise the recurrent nova system T Corona Borealis are not part of the main seven-star crown that defines the constellation. They are located within the vicinity of the constellation Corona Borealis, meaning that they appear in the same general area of the sky, but they are not one of the prominent stars that form the easily recognizable semicircle. That's what I want you to understand. And Alphekka is the jewel of that crown. The jewel of that crown. There is a direct relationship, folks, between Alphekka and the word alpha in an astronomical context. Alphekka is officially designated as Alpha Corona Borealis. Jesus, we know, is the Alpha and Omega. That the Alpha designation is typically given to the brightest star in a constellation. So its Alpha designation links it to the Greek alphabet and the tradition of naming the most prominent star in a given constellation with the first letter of that alphabet. Now, when TCRB undergoes its nova outburst, one would look towards the constellation Corona Borealis, but they wouldn't see one of the crown stars suddenly brighten. Instead, a new bright star would appear nearby. It will appear as a new star in our sky because it becomes bright enough to be seen with the naked eye where it previously was too dim. Now, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, Working Group on Star Names, formally approved Alphekka as the official name for Alpha Corona Borealis on July 20, 2016. And the Torah calendar date of July 20, 2016 was Yahweh speaks to Moses. Now, I don't know if that means anything, but I'm just giving you the facts. Now, while there isn't a direct causal or intentional link between the IAU's decision and the specific Torah calendar date, the fact that both events, the IAU's formal approval of Alphekka and that particular Torah calendar day just happened to fall on the same Gregorian date, is worthy of note. The text on the image here shows or states Yahweh speaks to Moses, and it quotes Deuteronomy 2 verses 1 through 25. So according to Torah calendar, the 15th day of the 5th month is associated with the portion of Deuteronomy where God, Yahweh, speaks to Moses. The 15th of month 5 is highlighted as the day when Yahweh speaks to Moses. First time since 1946. Well, what was the date in 1946? 80 years ago, roughly. The upcoming predicted outburst will be its first since 1946. The date of the last outburst in 1946 was February 9. February 9, 1946 falls within a period of immense upheaval and transition for Jewish history immediately following the end of World War II and the Holocaust. Now, while there isn't one single universally highlighted event that occurred exactly on that date, February 9, this date fits into several larger ongoing themes and developments crucial to Jewish life at the time. The repatriation of Polish Jews from the USSR in February 1946, the repatriation of Polish Jews from Russia to Poland began. And by August 1946, approximately 140,000 Polish Jewish repatriates had returned. This was a complex and often difficult process, as many faced continued anti-Semitism upon their return, leading to further immigration. We're looking at a period of post-Holocaust refugee crisis and displaced persons. Thousands of Jewish Holocaust survivors were scattered across Europe in displaced persons camps. Efforts were underway to provide aid, facilitate their immigration, especially to Palestine and the U.S. and other countries, and to rebuild Jewish communities. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum has records of an alphabetical list of Jewish refugees in Italy, February 1946. This was a time of continued anti-Semitism in post-war Europe. Despite the horrors of the Holocaust, anti-Semitism persisted in many parts of Europe. While the most widely known anti-Jewish pogrom of 1946 occurred in July, the immediate post-war period was marked by ongoing anti-Jewish violence and hostility. And we're looking at a period of Zionist activities and immigration to Palestine. The Zionist movement was actively working to facilitate Jewish immigration to Palestine last time this outburst occurred. And that despite British restrictions. British authorities were intercepting ships carrying Jewish refugees to Palestine. And this just a week after the date here in question. And this led to retaliatory actions by Zionist groups like the Palmach. We're looking at a period of the Nuremberg trials going on at that time, major Nazi war criminals being tried. That was ongoing in 1946. While specific events on February 9 are not highlighted, the trials were a crucial process for documenting the Holocaust and seeking justice, and many high-ranking Nazis were admitting to their roles in the mass murder of Jews in the preceding weeks and months. Therefore, February 9, 1946 was a time of immense challenge and critical steps towards rebuilding for Jewish people worldwide, marked by the ongoing struggles of survivors, the complexities of repatriation, continued anti-Semitism, and the determined efforts of the Zionist movement. This is what happened the last time, the last outburst, okay? Now, how many days from February 9, 1946 to September 23rd, 2025, the beginning date on our fall timeline? 29,081 days. Now, 29,081 days is approximately 79 years, 7 months, 14 days. 2.5 months shy of 80 years. So, war, persecution, growing anti-Semitism. Folks, history's repeating itself. This connection to war, persecution, and growing anti-Semitism is a grave and an accurate one. There has been a documented and alarming surge in anti-Semitism globally in recent years. If you've watched the news, you know that. If you've had your focus on global events, you know this, particularly since the start of the Israel-Hamas war in October of 2023. We know this. It's been documented by organizations like the Anti-Defamation League, reporting record numbers of anti-Semitic incidents. Anti-Semitism is being reported in diverse regions from North America and Europe to South America and beyond, indicating a global challenge. Now, once it erupts, the blaze star will remain at peak brightness for only a few days and visible to the naked eye for about a week. And then it will fade back to its usual faintness, only visible through a telescope. Dearly beloved, this is truly, it will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the world, whoever's here at that time, to witness a stellar explosion with its own eyes. I will keep an eye on astronomical news sources for real-time updates, as the exact date of the eruption will be confirmed closer to the event. So, those are the facts. Those are the facts. You decide. But I will end on this note. Genesis 1:14, a verse I'm sure many of you are familiar with. God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." Scripture declares, folks, that we have been identified with the jewel in that crown.